2023 was an absolute roller coaster ride for the Pokemon franchise, from major changes to the trading card game, to milestone discoveries, and even a whole host of new and unexpected Pokemon products and collaborations. With 2023 in the rearview mirror and 2024 just kicking off, I thought it'd be appropriate to take a look back on some of the biggest news stories and noteworthy moments across the Pokemon industry. Sometimes you just have to look backward in order to move forward. Anyway, I'm Pokemon Classics, and I invite you to join me for this episode of Breaking News. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Today we're kicking off the new year by reviewing the biggest news stories in Pokemon from 2023, along with some of my own personal thoughts and commentary on each one. That is my goal on this channel, after all, is to keep you all informed, whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. Also, you'll have to let me know your thoughts on 2023 down in the comments below, and what you're most looking forward to here in 2024. Personally, I'm looking forward to some of the big Pokemon events coming up, but we'll get to those a little bit later. Anyway, let's dive into our first story. 2023 was a monumental year in the world of Pokemon media, with a number of new and unique offerings. First, the Pokemon anime officially said goodbye to Ash and Pikachu, retiring the two protagonists after a 25-year run. This was somewhat expected after Ash won the Pokemon World Coronation Series Master 8 tournament, leading to a final season of 11 episodes before transitioning into an entirely new series, Pokemon Horizons, featuring Liko, Roy, and supporting characters Freed and Captain Pikachu. While it was certainly sad to say goodbye, Pokemon is continuously adapting and evolving as a franchise, with this serving as just one of many examples. Later in August, the Pokemon Company released a 4-part YouTube series called Path to the Peak, offering an entirely unique take on the Pokemon animation. Rather than focusing on the world of actual Pokemon, Path to the Peak follows Ava, an up-and-coming Pokemon trading card game master, as she moves through the ranks from her local league all the way up to the World Championships. This series is lighthearted and fun, and offers a refreshing glimpse into the culture of competitive Pokemon play. Now, as an avid collector and a former competitive player myself, this may have been my favorite piece of Pokemon animation in recent memory. And if that's not enough for variety, the Pokemon Company also released a new Netflix series in December titled Pokemon Conceirge. Now, the premise of this show and its artistic style are strong deviations from the traditional anime. Rather than battling opponents and traveling across the land, Pokemon check into a tropical island resort for some much-needed rest and relaxation. The style of animation seems to be some type of stop motion, with many of the Pokemon designs looking like they were assembled during arts and crafts time. It's actually a really cool artistic design, and offers another unique take on Pokemon through the lens of protagonist Haru and fan favorite Psyduck. Needless to say, 2023 was an exciting year for Pokemon media. 2023 was also a monumental year for Pokemon, with an entirely new expansion and game mechanics. After the release of Scarlet and Violet video games in November of 2022, the Pokemon Company officially released the Scarlet and Violet TCG expansion on March 31st of 2023. Since then, a number of Scarlet and Violet sets have hit the market across the world, including Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, Pokemon 151, and most recently Paradox Rift, with many more still on the way. Now, the Scarlet and Violet series has also brought some new and returning game mechanics. One introduction includes new terrestrialized Pokemon, which are crystal-like Pokemon impervious to damage while they're on the bench. We've also seen the introduction of Paradox Pokemon, prehistoric and futuristic versions of existing Pokemon. Additionally, EX cards and A-Specs cards have also made their return with some unique mechanics, the former providing more power and flexibility, counting for 2 prize cards rather than 1, and the latter providing items with powerful effects, but limited to just 1 per deck. In terms of design, the cards themselves have also experienced some significant cosmetic changes. With the introduction of Scarlet and Violet, English Pokemon cards finally exchanged their characteristic yellow borders for silver ones, aligning more closely with international designs. The Pokemon Company also brought back holofoil borders and the beloved Cosmo holofoil pattern previously associated with older vintage sets. Personally, these are a pair of design choices that I wholeheartedly support and seem to be well received by others in the community as well. Speaking of the TCG, 2023 was also a big year for Pokemon promo cards. The first notable release were the 3 winning entries of the 2022 Pokemon Illustration Contest. Now, back in January of 2023, this Arcanine, Bulbasaur, and Greninja were printed and released as part of a Pokemon Center giveaway. Like the special delivery Charizard the previous year, collectors had to pre-register through the Pokemon Center website, and if selected, were sent a redeemable code to receive a single pack consisting of all 3 of these promo cards, with the purchase of $30 of products and merchandise from the store. Now, these were tough to get a hold of, but not nearly as bad as the next promo card on this list. Jumping ahead a bit, in early October, Pokemon announced a collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum, celebrating the museum's 50th anniversary. To commemorate this milestone, a Pokemon scavenger hunt was set up throughout the museum, guiding visitors through a gallery of Van Gogh's works, and culminating in the award of a unique Van Gogh-inspired Pikachu promo card. However, this experience quickly went from wholesome and educational to divisive and chaotic. Videos quickly emerged of people pillaging products, with several reports of stolen promo cards, rampant on-site scalping, and people bypassing the scavenger hunt entirely, heading straight for the products with recycled papers. To make matters even worse, the promo card was released on the Pokemon Center shortly after, but was marred with site instability and overloaded with bot accounts. It was a very unfortunate situation in what otherwise had the opportunity to be one of the coolest and most unique promo distributions in Pokemon history. And finally, let's recap another European Pokemon promo, the Pokemon Together pop-up event. In early November, the Pokemon Company announced a series of pop-up events that would be touring the UK, France, and Germany beginning in late November and running through late December. These Pokeposts, as they were called, gave visitors the opportunity to mail a friend or family member a free gift pack featuring a promo Pokemon Together stamped Eevee card or Pikachu card. Visitors then received the other to keep for themselves. The Pokemon Company also advertised guest appearances of Eevee and Pikachu, along with photo opportunities for fans and enthusiasts at the event. Despite high attendance and long lines, these events seem to have gone much more smoothly for those in attendance than the Van Gogh Museum. 2023 also featured some noteworthy Pokemon product drops, the first of which being the highly anticipated Pokemon 151 specialty set. Back on Pokemon Day, February 27th, the Pokemon Company announced Pokemon 151, a set featuring the original 151 Kanto series Pokemon. This set was released on June 16th in Japan and September 22nd in the US, and quickly became the hottest set of the year. Not only did it merge vintage and modern together, but it also featured God packs and provided some noteworthy artworks, including the first release of Kadabra since the Uri Geller controversy in the early 2000s. Many of these artworks even offered subtle callbacks to their early base set illustrations, adding some additional nostalgia to the mix. Even now, demand for 151 still remains strong. Another notable release was Pokemon TCG Classic, a premium box set featuring 3 playable decks and an assortment of game pieces including a foldable game board, stackable damage counters, and various other counters for special conditions. This box set officially released on November 17th at a hefty price of $399.99, making it the most expensive Pokemon TCG item released to retail stores. Pre-orders on the Pokemon Center website sold out almost instantly, but Pokemon also announced that the unique cards would be made available in separate products coming in February of 2024, leading eager enthusiasts to speculate that the cards would be produced and sold without the box and the accessories at some point here in the future. Finally, 2023 also saw the return of a couple unique holiday-themed items as well. The first of these products is the Halloween-themed Trick or Trade packs, which originally debuted in the fall of 2022. Last year's set featured reprints of 30 different cards, each stamped with a special Pumpkin Pikachu logo. 10 of these cards were holo, with a variety of spooky Pokemon like Gengar being heavily featured in the marketing material. Now, booster bundles consisted of 50 mini packs retailing for about $20 and featured a green color profile this year, with Mimikyu in place of Gengar as the icon Pokemon. Shifting seasons to winter, Pokemon also announced the second iteration of their holiday calendar. This box set comes with 8 promo cards with a special snowflake stamp, 5 booster packs, and a variety of other treats including coins, stickers, fun packs, and even an ornament. It also featured a new box design this year with a blue color palette and Glaceon replacing Delibird as the 2023 ornament. Definitely some holiday fun in 2023. Unfortunately, it wasn't all fun in 2023. The past year also featured some noteworthy controversies across both the competitive and the collecting spheres of Pokemon. First, Pokemon made national news headlines in April when 17-year-old Makani Tran was disqualified from the Charlotte Regionals as his match was live streamed out to viewers. Prior to the match beginning, he and his opponent were asked for their preferred pronouns by one of the tournament judges. Makani responded with he and him, followed by a slight pause and an awkward laugh. The tournament judge, who identifies with they/them pronouns, took offense to the laugh and, after consulting with other judges, decided to have Makani disqualified for violating Pokemon's inclusivity policies. Makani's story ended up going viral after posting about his experience on Twitter, which led to further criticism of Pokemon judges and even some doxing situations. It was all around an unfortunate situation, bringing a lot of bad publicity to Pokemon. Speaking of negative publicity, back in July, an NFL linebacker turned professional Whatnot streamer, Blake Martinez, was removed from the platform after allegations of scamming customers. Now, this all began after an employee of Blake's Breaks was caught swapping a pack during a live stream. Apparently, Blake's Breaks and many other live breakers on Whatnot would offer various bounty-based incentives when selling packs to prospective buyers. Basically, they would charge higher prices for packs while giving customers added opportunities to win additional prizes through what I can only describe as a series of carnival games and alternative forms of gambling. In this particular case, buyers could win additional prize bounties if successfully guessing the correct energy cards before they were pulled from a pack. However, as Rattle Pokemon revealed in a lengthy multi-video series, Blake's Breaks allegedly mapped energies and swapped packs to ensure the desired outcomes for their streams. This would lead to Whatnot updating their policies to ban all forms of bounties and carnival game gambling from the platform moving forward, which came as a massive and surprising change to the platform. Finally, less negative but still controversial for other reasons was the tectonic shift with CGC Grading, one of the more noteworthy grading companies with Pokemon cards. Back on July 20th, CGC announced a merger with CSG, becoming the world's second largest card grading service. As part of this merger, CGC took the opportunity to update their slab labels from the traditional blue design, matching the labels from other graded items like video games and comic books, to a new modern black and white design. There's even a special gold embossed label for cards graded pristine 10. As part of their announcement, though, CGC informed customers that subgrades would no longer be offered and that the grading scale would be shifting in a pretty substantial way. This graphic helps illustrates the change, but essentially, CGC would be phasing out the perfect 10 grade and elevating the pristine 10 to its top spot. They'd also be adding a Gem Mint 10 grade, previously a 9.5 on the grading scale, and allowing users to resubmit existing 9.5s for reholdering as 10s for just a $5 fee. This is actually the second time CGC changed its grading standards in just 3 years, and whether it's the lack of subgrades, the mismatched labels, or just changing condition standards, many collectors have voiced displeasure at having to navigate this change, while others have welcomed this new fresh look. Anyway, there were plenty of controversial moves and decisions to look back on in 2023. Next, let's shift into something a little bit more positive, but 2023 was a year of major milestones and historical discoveries within the TCG community. Perhaps the biggest milestone was Pokemon's production numbers for the previous year. In May, the Pokemon Company released its yearly production recap, and for the third consecutive year, Pokemon had broken its all-time annual record with 9.7 billion cards produced in just 1 year. Now, this is an astronomically high number, edging out the previous year's production total of 9.1 billion cards by a pretty substantial margin. To put these numbers into perspective, the Pokemon Company has produced 52.9 billion Pokemon cards in total over its 27-year run, averaging between 1.5 and 2 billion cards per year prior to 2019. In just the last 2 years alone, Pokemon has produced 18.8 billion cards, or about 35% of its entire printing history. Now, one noteworthy addition is the expansion of Pokemon production, with simplified Chinese becoming the 14th official language of the TCG. This actually marks the first time Pokemon has added a new language or a new territory since 2019, and may explain some of the elevated production numbers. In terms of discoveries, 2023 saw the first recorded sale of one of the rarest cards in Pokemon history, the Snap Pikachu. Back in 1999, Nintendo released Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64, and along with its debut came a photo contest in Japan, where contestants could submit their favorite Snap photos to Pokemon with a chance to have those photos turned into actual cards. In total, 10 submissions were selected as winners, with each recipient receiving between 15 and 20 copies of their card as a prize, making these some of the rarest and most highly sought-after cards in all of Pokemon. However, the only Snap card to never surface was the Snap Pikachu. That is, until high-profile collector Dubsy unveiled his newest acquisition on June 9th of 2023. Hadouken Nido and Mr. Fuji documented this process of sourcing and purchasing the card and having it graded on behalf of Dubsy. Currently, the population for the Snap Pikachu still remains at just one graded copy. Not to be outdone, 2023 also marked the very first authentication of the mythical pre-release Raichu card. As the legend has it, Wizards of the Coast officials produced a select number of pre-release Raichus, either accidentally or intentionally, as they were testing the production process for the pre-release Clefable. For more than 2 decades, though, these cards were regarded as a mythical holy grail of Pokemon collecting. However, recently, 2 of these cards have surfaced after being graded with CGC. Of course, the grading of these cards has been a bit controversial. The owner of the cards, David Person, has produced what I feel to be some pretty strong provenance tracing the timeline and ownership of the cards back to known Wizards of the Coast officials, and CGC has also produced an article documenting their forensic analysis of the cards and their consistency with Pokemon cards and stamps from that particular time period. However, others have noted contradictory reports from Wizards of the Coast officials and PSA's own unwillingness to authenticate these cards as reasons for caution and skepticism. Regardless of how you feel, though, it's fascinating to see items like these take center stage and prompt a closer look into Pokemon's historical foundations. Finally, we'll wrap up our recap of 2023 with a look back at some landmark Pokemon events. First up, we have the 2023 Pokemon World Championships, which took place in Yokohama, Japan from August 8th to August 14th. Now, this actually marks the very first time the World Championships have ever been held in Japan, and for Pokemon fans and enthusiasts, this was a dream come true, to travel back to Japan to experience Pokemon in its country of origin. The event featured several new offerings, including a Pokemon-themed cruise, orchestra, live shows, and parades. One of the bigger news stories emerging from Japan was the unveiling of a newly designed set of trophy cards, the first update in 7 years. Unfortunately, spectator badges and event tickets for Worlds were in limited supply and extremely difficult to get a hold of for most prospective travelers. At the conclusion of the event, the Pokemon Company announced a return to Hawaii for next year's World Championships, which has previously hosted the tournament in 2007, 2010, and most recently, 2012. Of course, we can't forget about Card Party. Last year in early June, PokeTube celebrity Pat Flynn, better known as Deep Pocket Monster, hosted a massive gathering of Pokemon collectors, enthusiasts, content creators, and fans for an extended weekend of all-out Pokemon-related fun. And just like that, Card Party was born. Now, if you haven't seen any event coverage, I highly suggest you check out this recap video posted to the Deep Pocket Monster YouTube channel. Kids were trick-shotting energy cards, fans were meeting with their favorite YouTubers around every corner, and there was even a world record reached for the most Pokemon packs opened simultaneously in a single venue. Now, after teasing a few different locations, Pat officially announced Card Party 2.0 would be returning in 2024, this time hosted in Orlando, Florida, at the Hilton from June 14th to June 16th. Now, I have to tell you guys, this venue looks absolutely amazing. Not only is everything on site at the hotel, eliminating parking and transportation, but this hotel has a water park, restaurant, outdoor recreational spaces, and so much more. This looks like another home run for Pat and for all those in attendance. Finally, we have an event that is still active here in 2024. We're talking the Pokemon Illustration Contest. Now, this year's contest opened on October 12th, and we'll continue accepting entries through January 31st. However, entries are limited to the US, Japan, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Anyway, the theme of this year's illustration contest is magical Pokemon moments, and features a few of the usual suspects, Pikachu, Charizard, and Eevee, but this year they'll also be joined by Feraligatr, Flygon, Absol, Bidoof, Melmetal, Toxtricity, and Koreadon. There will also be 5 different prizes awarded, including 15 Judges Awards, 6 first-place runner-ups, a Best EX card illustration, a Best Standard card illustration, and 1 grand prize winner who will receive a $5,000 cash prize and their illustration printed and distributed as an authentic Pokemon promo card. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the Pokemon community is such a diverse mix of ages, personalities, interests, and passions, so get those art supplies ready and get to work, everyone. The clock is ticking on the next Pokemon Illustrator. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Breaking News, where we break down some of the most important Pokemon news stories each and every month. Or in this case, each and every year. Let me know your thoughts on these stories down in the comments below, and if there are any major news stories this year that I missed, definitely send them my way. Anyway, guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Thanks for spending your time with me today, and have a great 2024. We'll see y'all with the next video. Bye, everybody.